Welcome, everybody, to the final round coverage of the 2019 Silver Cup presented by Rollin' Ridge and Disc Mania. I'm Brian Earhart, joined here by Nate Perkins yet again. How's it going, Nate?
Going great, man. Once again, back on the shores of Lake Michigan, Silver Creek, the Super Silver layout.
Beautiful course and a lot of iconic holes out here. And with this tournament, we are seeing a really awesome final round card. We have a lot of great talents here. We have Calvin Heimburg, Garrett Gurthie, Cale Leiviska, and Terry Rothlisberger tackling this course yet again.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a great final round. And we've got a pretty close battle here.
Yeah, very solid close battle. We'll show you the scores in just a bit. Hole number one, pretty short hole, but again, very, very wooded. And it takes a very clean mid-range shot to get to the basket.
Yeah, so going into this final round, everyone here is within 3 strokes. Garrett's leading by 2 over Cale and Terry and just 3 ahead of Calvin.
There are a lot of very birdieable holes out here, so there can be some big stroke swings if you're not entirely on your game. Garrett does put his drive a little bit short. Cale's trying to make a little bit of an adjustment and definitely does. Slight mid-range turnover.
Such a technical hole to start out on.
Yeah, there's a couple different options. You can throw this inside gap that Terry did and pretty much execute it perfectly.
Yeah, that's a tough gap right there. He definitely had to miss a few trees to get as close to the pin as he did.
And then there's this straight gap that you can take with a mid-range that Calvin was trying to hit. Left himself a little bit of a tester here. And I don't think he was entirely running that putt.
Just a little low from circle's edge there from Garrett.
And Cale only 2 strokes behind him, so he's got a nice putt for birdie. And Terry from about 25.
Yeah, one of those that you can tell is just
first putt of the
little
round.
nerves. Yeah, I mean when you don't make it to the lock, it's something's going on.
And there's the first stroke that Cale's going to take on Garrett here.
All right, and right there he kind of went back to like a little old school Cale right there. Rather than the spin, he kind of like popped that one up on the hyzer.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's the putt that we know Cale for having for quite some time. But as you saw in the previous videos, he has been straight up spin putting. So I'm curious to see if maybe he's made an adjustment.
Maybe just a straddle right there.
Might have been a situational putt there. But nonetheless, he cashes the putt and takes a stroke on Garrett, quickly moving into hole number 2.
Yeah, dead straight, 272. I mean, it's maybe 12 feet across.
It's just a dead straight hyzer flip with whatever you got.
Yep.
Mid-range, putter, whatever you're most comfortable with. I'm sure he's got an M4 in his hands.
Yeah, it's kind of right in between that range of throwing a putter straight and throwing a mid straight. Is it the M4 that he loves or the M3? I can never
I've played
remember.
a few rounds with Cale, and he's pretty much destroyed me with only an M4.
Okay. That blue one's an M4.
I would assume so.
And that's definitely Garrett's trusty Rock 3.
And again, sneaks to the left side just like Cale's, but he pushed a little bit more forward. And this is just likely a beat buzz from Terry. And again, that left side, they're trying to get that hyzer flip, but like you said, they're throwing it a little bit slower than they normally would since it is kind of that tweener range. And maybe just not getting enough speed to flip it.
And that's actually a D-line AVR X3 from Calvin.
Huh.
Pretty beat up. That's what he likes to flip up and fly straight.
And after all players did find that left side, Calvin is going to kick off that right side tree and potentially leave him with a little bit longer circle 2 putt than he would like. The basket really is staring you down, but it's still super challenging to access off the tee.
Yeah, that's a tough bogey that Calvin's going to be taking on hole 2. Oh, that was a great looking
Awesome
hyzer
run from
bid.
Cale. And Garrett to take that stroke back.
And we've seen Garrett actually opt for the Sonic toss-in from right about that range. He decided to go with the AVR putter that time. And you can see he's not quite comfortable at that range.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of, I wouldn't say nerves or fear or anything, but definitely he has every shot. So it's almost like he has to choose one that's kind of challenging for him because I'm assuming it's a bit more fun to throw the Sonic.
Yeah.
Cale's going to tap in for his par, as is Terry. Yeah, I was mentioning to somebody the other day that I have a theory that once Double G gets to Grandmaster's age, he is going to only spin putt with Sonics.
Yeah.
And I hope to see that one day. Hole number 3, this is a par 4, but it's definitely tooable off the tee if you throw an absolutely miraculous tee shot.
Yeah, and we saw some great-looking drives from Garrett and Terry, both in round 2. They got up on the dance floor, actually. Anything that's up on top of that hill is money. And we saw Cale, same play that he did in the previous round, just laying up to the bottom of the hill. It kind of leaves you a little straight to Annie approach to this pin. But a 3 definitely plays here.
Oh, it'll gain you strokes in the field. If you're kicking early, there's...
Look at this, dude. Okay. He's pure in the gap.
That's a mid-range on a par 4.
Definitely the best drive I've ever seen on the hole. It's hard to even really articulate how difficult it is to get the Rock 3, the stable mid, to flip up in late drift like that.
Especially throwing uphill.
Yeah, when you get the nose up, it's even harder. Yeah. Exactly.
Terry's gets a bit of a kick. And okay, never mind.
Oh my gosh, Brian.
Apparently this hole's easy.
Calvin just based it.
Yeah, apparently this hole is just the easiest hole in the course. We have 2 eagle looks.
I will say that Calvin's looked like it got a little
squeaky.
Yeah, a little squeaky on that right side. Garrett's was a little more pure, but if Calvin didn't go down that, I don't see his disc. He must have actually gone long a little bit, but
okay.
This dude is an eagle machine. We need to look at the stats because I'd be really shocked to see if anyone has more eagles than Garrett Gurthie this year.
It's unbelievable, and the fact that he's doing it so routinely is kind of scary.
Calvin went long. This is so sick. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, double eagles on this hole, and we have ourselves a bit of a ball game.
Yeah, I would say so. After taking a bogey 4 on the previous hole, Calvin comes right back to clean it up with an eagle 2. And, it is 395 feet, but I would argue that one is a par 4.
Oh, absolutely. If you're not blasting a shot like that, it's definitely a 2-shot hole. And turning into another 2-shot hole is hole number 4. Used to be a par 3 right up by this stump right behind it. We're actually going around the corner now to a new pin position that, after watching initially, not the easiest hole to access.
No, definitely not. We saw a lot of great shots during round 2, and they all ended up with just layups
for a 3.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's going to be the strategy for all these players as well. I couldn't quite see where Garrett's drive landed.
Yeah, Garrett hit actually really early, and he dropped down to the left, and he's going to have a blind approach to that elevated pin.
Calvin, maybe a little bit of squeakiness on this one as well. But as you can see, even if you bend one all the way down there, you'll maybe have an edge of circle 2 look. Okay.
So that, I'm guessing, is the way that you attack this hole. A little window through the woods on the right. Definitely on purpose. He didn't miss by that much.
And Terry was trying to do something similar and unfortunately kicks something really early.
Okay, so Garrett takes a little sneaky hyzer route.
I wonder if that's what they intended when they were designing this hole.
Oh, and that looked like it hit pretty early. Calvin wants none of that.
And this was Cale's drive, correct?
Yes.
Not too much of a look. But I do see what he was going for sure.
Yeah.
Just completely cut the corner. And I've seen him do that on multiple courses.
And this is for par. And you can see even that's at 20 feet with a little bit of an elevated pin. And this is for a bogey. Yeah, good putt from Terry. Yeah, definitely interesting hole. I mean, there's not a lot of holes under 300 feet where it's a genuine two-shot hole. But
yeah, I think it's going to be scoring, I would assume, as a softer par 4.
Yeah.
Probably going to see a very small number of 2s on this and then a ton of 3s, which is fine. I mean, you take your 3. Kevin Jones says it best. Every course is a puzzle. You show up, you solve the puzzle, and you leave, and that's just one of those pieces that you had to figure out. So moving into hole number 5, another very crazy shape for a par 3. This one...
Super late gap here.
Yeah, super late gap. Bends left, and then it snakes back to the right. I think it shapes up really well for a power flex sidearm for a righty, but the first job is obviously hitting the first gap.
Yeah, it might on paper looks like it shapes up for the forehand, but it's such a late gap to hit that it's really tough to get something to flip up that late. So often you'll see the right hand backhand
just
line.
trying to give themselves some sort of circle 2 look.
Yeah.
And I like the late flip hyzer from Calvin and just caught those soldier trees.
Yeah, he's just money with those eagles. I don't know anyone else throwing them like he is.
He can throw them an absolute country mile, too. And there's an M4 from Cale, I believe. And that just got up a little bit too much. And off on that right side is not good.
No, it's pretty tough to get up and down from over there. Just crazy to see his mid-range just flip up so late in its flight.
That's somebody who's truly learned the mold that they're throwing. And I think Terry threw a buzz or some sort of similar flying driver. And he actually put himself where you kind of need to be with that shape. Not too much you can do from there.
Yeah, this one really feels like one of those bonus 2s.
Oh, it's a huge bonus 2.
Certainly played over par during this final round.
And even one that taking a 3 is not going to be too rough of a feeling. And
wow.
That is
Look at him pointing the camera down. Was that the Sonic?
That was a Sonic throw-in from Garrett. Why are we even surprised? Terry almost cashes it as well.
Yeah, he went to walk that one down. Bit right side. This is Cale for par. And again, that straddle putt, it kind of like brings out his normal release.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that the spin putt switch is also maybe just made his putting game a little bit more versatile. So now he has the tools for really any scenario, which is really cool to see. Terry tapping out the par. Calvin is going to do the same. 3 on this hole, not too bad when it comes to the scoring spread out here.
Yeah, and Garrett's going to be taking the box again on hole 6. Another eagle opportunity here at Silver Creek. Par 4, 450 feet. Slopes from right to left, right there at the end of the fairway. You need to push straight. You need something on hyzer, but you need it to be kind of flipping up a little bit toward the end of the
If you want that 2 look, such a beautiful, iconic green. We've seen pictures of this hole all over the internet. The famous Lighthouse Hole, and Garrett looks like has... Not quite sure what that is. Is that a Wombat 3?
That's the Wombat 3, dude.
So, and I've heard it's like an Arrow, which is a glidey putter, but a little quicker than that. A little bit more throwable than the old school putter. So
maybe somewhat similar tendencies to your favorite disc, the Comet.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, and I felt it in the past. And has a similar feel, a little bit quicker. Calvin has smashed his drive as well, and he's also down there on the peninsula, I believe.
The thing about Calvin's drive, it's a beautiful drive, and from the tee box, it almost looks perfect. But as you see, both of those shots, which looked great from the tee, are just too straight.
Little bit too straight, and they're going to have to scramble from that rough there.
And Terry's shot was actually on a better line. You really need to saw that hyzer off if you want to get all the way down there for a putt.
Garrett gets to a solid distance, and with how tall that lighthouse is, you actually don't want to base the putt.
Yeah.
No,
you're right. You're right. The tension on this upshot is high because of how elevated the pin is. If you're at 30 feet, it feels like a 50-footer. And like you said, if you're right underneath it, it gets really awkward if you can't just pick up your disc and put it in.
Especially with how windy this green is. Yeah, where Cale's at is kind of an optimal place. You can play a nice, safe jump putt layup.
And Calvin going to hit the lighthouse, leaves himself at 18, and depending on the wind, it could be a treacherous putt. I mean, we've seen in the past like 4, 5, even 6 putt on this green.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice putt. That was solid, dead in the heart of the center of the chains by Terry. Oh, boy. He's not happy about that one.
Yeah, it was a little high.
Little bit high. And that's really the distance you want to stick your upshot to. A little bit flatter angle at the basket. You can actually drive the disc forward to it and not chance that weird spit out from the angle.
Also a little high from Cale, but he sticks it, and Garrett is going to lose a stroke to everyone on the card. He's still 3 in front of Cale, 4 in front of Calvin, 5 in front of Terry.
Moving into another very birdieable hole, hole number 7, 330-foot par 3. Really just dead straight.
Yep.
You know, the fairway is going to be slanting a little bit towards the right, towards that rough. We're going to see a lot of mid-range shots just flipping up to flat.
Yeah, it's kind of, again, an in-between distance. You'll see a lot of mid-ranges. You'll see some fairways, too. It's like right at that.
Kind of that tweener distance, unless you are Johnny McRae and you ace it with a putter, as of a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was
kind of disgusting.
Legendary. I believe it was on film, too.
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was caught on film. Calvin gets down there with a mid-range and is about 25 feet left of the basket.
Yeah, this is mid-range for Cale all day. It's the same disc, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's just over and over again. It's just so comfortable with his angle release.
Yeah, and, you know, instead of changing the disc, he'll just change the nose angle and get it to stall a little bit more, and that just shows the mark of someone who's really learned a mold and has stuck to it for a long time.
Yeah, it doesn't get much prettier than that.
And that's Terry. A park job. That is an absolute park job from Terry. Great shot.
Is that a Buzz SS?
You know, last time I played with Terry, I remember him throwing a lot of buzzes, but again, it's been a little bit of time. It was some sort of buzz for sure.
Yeah. And that was a Rock 3 from Garrett. Also very beautiful.
Nice birdie putt from Calvin.
Yeah, Garrett looks pretty sharp with that shirt being tucked in today for this final round.
Oh yeah, he's got his Grip 6 belt on, looking smooth.
Spin it in, Cale.
And he's not making it easy on the rest of these players. He's making them have to perform, and he knows he has the lead.
Yeah, he's definitely scoring, and that's exactly what you have to do here at Silver Creek.
Oh yeah.
You have to score.
There's a lot of short par 4s that you have to get yourself into position off the tee with, and hole number 8 is pretty much a perfect example of that.
Yeah, definitely. You want to cover some ground on this one. The access to the green is through a incredibly tight window, a bunch of really small guardian trees here. I mean, maybe 7-8 feet from left to right here where we're flying through. Very tight green.
It's pretty much just a funnel the entire way.
Yep.
You want to stay in the very center for the most part.
And the closer you are to the gap, the bigger it becomes. Anything off to the left, anything off to the right there, it kind of closes the angle off.
It definitely does. And you'll see people like Cale. I think this is a control driver. It's not a distance driver.
Yeah, that's gonna be, I believe, that H3 V2.
And if it missed that bush, it would have been right in the middle. But again, that's the whole point of this hole, is it's making you throw a little bit of a left to right drifting shot if you want to push it far up the fairway. Terry gets a little bit too high on the shot. And
Assuming that orange one's a Zeus from Terry?
Zeus or a Force. He has a ton of good beat-up Forces in his bag as well, from what I remember. But the Zeus is flying pretty well for all the Discraft pros out there.
I mean, that was so high. He's going through the gap. He's in the mulch. Stay on the mulch.
Can he stop doing this?
Maybe first player ever.
I think his strategy is, how can I give myself the most sonic throw-in opportunities? Maximum fun factor there.
Man, he is absolutely, without question, one of the most exciting players in disc golf.
Oh, hands down. And the fact that he took a little tiny hiatus for a couple years and then came back full force is so fun to watch, and is such an awesome storyline.
I didn't even know who he was, Brian.
Yeah.
In 2014, 2015, when I was starting, I did not know what people were talking about when they said GG.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's he's been around for a very, very long time. And after Calvin sticks his upshot into the basket and Cale...
Look at that swagger from Cale.
Yeah.
He tosses it, just holds his arm up there and walks in front of the gap. Oh, no. Man, I wanted to see another throw in.
I was kind of excited. I personally wanted to see another one.
I think Garrett was pretty excited as well.
You know, another funny Garrett story, just to prove truly how... and actually, this is actually Garrett for birdie from about 20. Another great putt from Garrett. A little while ago, when I was just starting to play disc golf in the early to mid 2000s, there was an article in the Disc Golfer magazine of Garrett Gurthie advertising the Quest Raging Inferno driver, saying that it added 50 feet to his distance.
Amazing.
Long, long time ago. He's been around for quite some time. Cale's tapping in the par after going a little bit off the beaten path on that drive.
And Calvin absolutely based that one with a forehand from out of position.
And actually, I think he hit the bottom of the cage on that shot.
Yeah, beautiful approach. And we're moving into hole 9, another eagle opportunity. 524, plays slightly downhill. Angle is a little interesting. You definitely have to flip something up to flat, get it to drift a little bit.
Yes.
But as we saw from the flyover, there is plenty of OB. If you hyzer out left, you're likely going to be OB in the road.
Calvin has come to terms with this, and he has blasted this shot.
That needs to hyzer right in front. Oh, wow.
That's
he's going to be circle 1, I believe.
That's a huge shot from Calvin. But that's, again, you can't have it hyzering. You have to get it hyzer initially and then push it right a tiny bit. So Garrett has tried doing the same thing.
I mean, he's just matching his line. He's past the pin.
My jaw's hanging a little low.
These guys are...
Especially playing this hole many, many times.
I mean, this really right here, Cale's shot is going to show you just how impressive Calvin and Garrett's shot are, because Cale has plenty of distance, but he decides to completely lay it up short of the road.
And that's what a majority of the players are doing, and Terry's going to try to follow suit here.
Wow, that had some late turn on it. Yeah, plenty of distance. He crosses the road. He's going to be safe, but he's going to have a pretty tricky up and down.
And that's usually how the hole is chalked up to be played. That is a great, safe, conservative birdie from Cale.
Yeah, it's going to be a birdie, but when you're 4 back and your competition is
putting for eagle
on
again.
multiple holes. Oh, nasty. And actually, he was outside circle one, but it doesn't matter because his spin putt is, whatever you call it, is just money.
Garrett unfortunately does not capitalize, and we don't get to see a double eagle hole, unfortunately.
You know, Brian, sometimes I wish we could just hit the rewind button. I just want to go back and look at Calvin's putt a few more times.
That was ridiculous.
It was a 45-footer just
Clean.
standstill on the pole for eagle 2.
And that's the thing about this course that I'm, after all the years that I've come to the Silver Cup and all the times that I've gotten to watch video of this course get played, you have to get aggressive and, go for those eagle looks if you have the opportunity to, because of how short a lot of these par 4s and par 5s are out here. Hole number 10, tougher par 3. I think you called this one the launch pad hole.
Yeah, there it is. The mulch. We just flew over it. That's really where you want to hit your backhand hyzer on, and it just skips right on up to the pin.
It's like hitting the square right behind the basket in basketball.
Yeah.
Calvin's going to go with eagle, I believe.
This is just a really fun hole to throw. Just a little high from Calvin. That is one of the dangers on this one. It's slightly downhill, and it is a little bit low ceiling toward the end of the flight.
Garrett gets it a little bit lower. Cuts it a little bit inside.
And there's that H3 V2 again from Cale. He really loves this disc. He decides to just air it out the whole way. That was beautiful.
That was smooth, and he's a little bit long, but still circle one, I believe.
Here's the launch pad.
Yep. There's the launch pad, and
And almost aces it.
perfectly placed mulch.
Actually, shout out to Adam Hammies for his 2018 Silver Cup victory. He had a scorching final round and just dusted Cale, Kevin, and I. And he actually hits the launch pad and squares the chain's dead center, and it doesn't stick, but it's definitely the way to play the hole.
Definitely. And Calvin just misses on the 40-footer. We got Terry from the woods cashing the birdie putt.
Great looking putt.
Yeah, super smooth.
Let's see what he opts for. It looks like he's going to line up that spin putt, but then he does do his normal old school hyzer release. Just a little right side on that one. That's unfortunate after beautiful drive. Is it a bogey from Calvin?
I'm not sure if they have OB back there.
Miss a shot?
Not entirely sure.
Yeah, we must have missed the shot, but that's unfortunate because he was, after that, his second eagle around, he had pulled himself within 3 strokes, and he moves back to 4 behind Garrett now.
Hole number 11. Again, we're going into the shorter par 4s, which is a common theme in this course. Another eagleable opportunity. We have OB on the right side. That is a short pin that we are passing. We are going down and around the corner.
Yeah, this is really the gap that you want to set yourself up for that we just flew through. We're probably going to see a few of these players go over the top. Terry looking like he's lining up the down the middle shot.
Clip something a little bit high.
Yeah,
Double G wants an eagle.
Yeah, Garrett's definitely lining up the monster hyzer. We saw him just barely miss it yesterday. It looked like he got all of that one, maybe a little too much. Oh.
I think I'm going to throw up. That was
15
so
feet,
cool.
dude.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, just so much hyzer, too. Initially, it looked like it was too much, but it just shows you how forward the disc is moving.
Did Double G design this course? That sneaky little man.
And Cale really testing that right side, but that's really how you want to play the hole if you don't have 550 feet of raw hyzer power.
Yeah, which is not common. I love playing the road skip on this one. Keep it nice and low, flare off the road.
Even Calvin isn't opting to go with that hyzer.
It's because it's such an enormous hyzer. Like the magnitude of how big that shot actually has to be is you don't get to let the disc glide.
Oh no, that's worst case scenario right there from Terry. He let that hyzer go too low, goes OB immediately. He's going to be throwing 4 from 20 feet in front of that.
And it never feels good to have to be the next one to throw yet again.
Man, and just like that, such a big swing. He's going to be losing potentially 4 strokes to the leader.
Yeah, and it's crazy to watch on this course. The moment you have a bad hole, you shoot down the leaderboard because you're expected to par or birdie almost all these holes.
And Calvin knows what he has to do to keep pace. I mean, he was 100 feet out and definitely was hunting that one down.
Definitely.
Yeah, Terry's going to be taking a double bogey 6.
Calvin snags a birdie, which is, again, very solid score in this hole. And we have Garrett, who decided to just not play the hole correctly. And not in regards to rules, but in regards to his shot selection, and has eagled yet again. Should we have a soundboard of like Eagles calls that we should be hitting?
Yeah, dude, I don't know really how to respond to this. He's really just breaking down our sport.
It's amazing, and it's crazy that he seems to keep getting better and better at throwing. And forgive us, for all listening, for us talking about him nonstop this round, but he's doing things that it's proving why almost every course has a double G story.
Yeah, and the other players on this card are birdieing holes and losing strokes.
And these are the best players in the world.
Who they're chasing, so it's pretty incredible.
And, yet another treat for us. We have another eagleable par 4.
And he's attacking this one. He's trying to roll it up the middle, I believe. Needs to sit down, and it does. He's past everything. He's got a sonic throw-in opportunity. He's
yet again
way closer than I actually thought.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the power roller. If the only worst case scenario is getting caught up in that huge tree on the right side, but Cale's trying to play the hole a little bit more textbook, which has always been his game, and taking a 3 on this hole is really solid.
Calvin just ripped that one.
If this gets a flare, it's going to get pretty far out there.
If that skips it all, I mean, he aired out that destroyer on a flat line as far as Garrett's roller just went.
Yeah, that's huge. If that flexes, that could be pretty nice, but it needs to sit down. That's a solid spot.
Yeah, good little reaction, too, because that light pole is a mandatory, so you do have to go left of that.
That was a tiny gap Cale decided to hit.
Yeah, very well thrown. Yeah, this can be a tricky little approach. It's often a pretty fast green. Looks like the grass is pretty lush this year, but pretty quick heads down toward the creek.
And another sonic coming in from Garrett. Right next to the basket.
Yeah, these guys are just making this course look way too easy right now. I mean, this is a legitimate par 4, and they've got jump putts and toss-ups for their birdies.
Yeah, and a lot of these holes, it seems like taking a par is, causing you to fall behind.
Yeah,
really.
It's unacceptable.
And, as we see Calvin tapping out on hole number 12, we see I believe a star birdie frame. So that was the last hole of the round, and we will catch you on the back 9.